I'm Veronica. Sitting in this small, cozy cafe, across from my parents, I'm flooded with a whirlwind of emotions. They're here, saying sorry, looking sincere, but the scars run deep. It all started with that fateful anniversary party. My parents, Robert and Linda, are well-to-do. They've always lived in a big house in a posh neighborhood. Dad is a successful businessman, a bit aloof and used to getting his way. Mom is more passive, often going along with Dad's decisions. My sister, Lily, is the free-spirited one, and my brother, Max, is the laid-back guy who never takes things too seriously. It was Lily who first mentioned the idea of a small celebration for our parents' 45th anniversary in our family group chat. Maybe just a nice dinner at home, she texted. Max sent a thumbs-up emoji, and then, nothing. Weeks went by, and there was no sign of any planning. I knew I had to step in. I'm a freelance graphic designer, and I took a 2-month break from my clients. I spent hours researching the perfect venue. I found a beautiful old mansion on the outskirts of the city. It had a grand ballroom with crystal chandeliers and a lush garden where we could have the reception. I hired a top-notch band that played soft jazz, perfect for a relaxed evening. I sourced fine wines from a well-known sommelier who specialized in European blends. And for the flowers, I went to a high-end florist and asked her to create arrangements inspired by my mother's favorite paintings. She was so excited about the project that she even gave me a discount. All in all, it cost me $25,000. I didn't tell my parents the exact amount, I just said I had it covered. They didn't ask, which should have been a red flag. But I was so caught up in the idea of creating a magical moment for our family. I coordinated with all the vendors, made detailed schedules, and even designed a seating chart to avoid any potential family feuds. A week before the event, I got the final invoice and paid it without a second thought. And then, out of the blue, my aunt, Margaret, texted me. We're keeping the guest list tight. You're not included. I stared at the screen in disbelief. I thought it was a mistake, a simple miscommunication. Then my mom followed up with a message saying, "It's not personal. Hope you understand." I sat there, holding my phone, trying to recall the last time they treated me like a family member and not just someone to solve their problems. I remembered all the times they forgot my birthdays, or when they went on a family cruise and assumed I was too busy to join. It was always the same excuse, "Hope you understand." I scrolled through my calendar and saw all the appointments I had made for the party, the catering confirmation, the wine delivery, the band's arrival time. My name was on every single document, but somehow, I wasn't on the guest list. That's when I decided to take matters into my own hands. I didn't tell anyone what I was about to do. I opened my laptop and found the contract for the mansion. The cancellation window was still open, just barely. I sent an email to the event coordinator, explaining that there had been a change in plans and requesting a refund of the deposit. To my relief, I got a confirmation within minutes. Next, I messaged the band leader. He had been so understanding when I was trying to manage the budget. I told him the event had been cancelled, and he replied with kindness, saying he understood. The wine shipment was a bit more complicated. The sommelier had already prepared the cases for delivery, but when I explained the situation, she agreed to hold the order. No refund, but at least no delivery. The flowers were a lost cause. They were custom-made and non-refundable. I decided to let them be. Let someone else deal with the beautiful arrangements I had planned. The night before the party, I went to a park near my apartment. I sat on a bench, looking at the stars, and I felt a strange sense of calm. I wasn't angry or vengeful, I just felt detached from something I had invested so much in. The morning of the party, my phone started ringing at 6 a.m. It was my dad. The calls came in quick succession, but I didn't pick up. By the fourth call, I turned the phone over, and by the seventh, I put it in the drawer. I knew what was happening. The party was falling apart. At noon, I turned my phone back on. There were 13 missed calls, 12 from my dad and 1 from my aunt. I let it ring one more time and then picked up. My dad didn't yell or apologize. He just asked, "What happened?" I paused for a moment and then said, "It's not personal." And I hung up. 3 days after the party, I opened my Instagram and saw Lily's post. It was a picture of my parents in the backyard, with a few folding chairs and a cheap cake. The caption said, "A wonderful anniversary celebration." But the photos told a different story. There were no flowers, no music, and no elegance. They had a party, but it was a shadow of what I had planned. I started to think about all the things I had done for them over the years. I had fixed their computers, paid their late bills, and even helped Lily with her college applications. I realized that I had been taking on so much emotional and financial labor, all under the guise of being a helpful family member. So, I decided to cut ties. I logged into all the accounts with my name on them, removed the saved payment methods, and canceled the subscriptions. It took me an afternoon, but when I was done, I felt lighter. I started spending my time on things I loved. I took up painting, went on long hikes, and even joined a book club. I was finally living for myself. Then, my cousin, Sarah, messaged me. She said my mom was going to therapy and that she had admitted how badly they had treated me. A few days later, Sarah gave me a note from my dad. It said, "I'm trying to learn how to be a better dad." I wrote back on a card, "I'm not ready to return, but I'm open to something honest." I sealed the envelope and placed it by the door. Months passed, and my life was peaceful. I was enjoying the quiet, doing things at my own pace. And then, one day, my mom messaged me. She asked if I was willing to meet. I thought about it for a few days and then agreed. Here I am, sitting across from them in this cafe. My mom looks tired but sincere, and my dad stands up when I enter, an old habit. They say they're sorry, and I believe them. But I also know that it will take time to heal the wounds. I tell them, "Thank you, but I'm not coming back." Not yet. As I leave the cafe, I feel a sense of closure. The lock to this chapter of my life has always been in my hands, and now, I'm in control of my future.